Voss Auto Network, built on trust, driven by integrity.
First tonight, you might remember this video from October. It shows Dunbar's football team attempting to throw a game. This was all over an ineligible player and whether two local schools would make it to the playoffs. Tonight, we're hearing from the former Dunbar head football coach who was let go. Now, here's what happened during that game. It's early third quarter when Coach Darren Powell huddles the team to tell them they need to lose the game. You see the players upset by this realization. They then line up for a play, but the quarterback throws the ball straight to a Belmont player. A penalty is enforced. Dunbar lines up again, and once again, the quarterback throws the ball to Belmont. Fox 45's Kelly May joining us now live with an exclusive interview with Powell. Kelly.
Well, Adam, as we first reported last night, these district documents give us exact details into who said what in the investigation into an attempt to throw the game. And tonight, Coach Powell sharing all of this on camera with us.
I never once told my team to go out there and lose a game.
Ousted Dunbar football head coach Darren Powell telling his side of the OHSAA investigation into an attempt to throw a game over an ineligible player.
First time we heard about that was 4 o'clock before we got on the bus, that it was in question.
October 28th, they were on their way to face Belmont. Powell says right before the game, a conversation with Dunbar's athletic director, Peter Pullen.
Coach Pullen came back to me with the word that it was good to go. So put him in the game, and then 20 minutes later came back again that, oh, it was a mistake made. Now he's ineligible.
So during halftime, Coach Powell, district athletic director Mark Baker, and the principals from Belmont and Dunbar had a meeting to talk about the eligibility issue.
After that, that's when I actually walked into Mr. Baker's office. It was me. He was already in there with Miss Phillips and Miss Walters. I asked him, what do you want me to do? Like, tell me what you want me to do. And that's when he explained to me, you know, was in fact ineligible. And if Belmont wins the game, we don't have to worry about anything. It was a directive. To be honest, it was more so save the district. Just let them win, and no one will ever know.
According to a follow-up report by the Director of Safety and Security for the district, Powell claimed he told Baker he wouldn't tell his players to lose. And Baker allegedly responded saying, go ahead and see what happens. The district will have a mess. District Athletic Director Mark Baker denies ever giving a directive or saying in that halftime meeting that Dunbar should lose. According to the follow-up investigation document, he does admit to joking with Belmont's principal prior to the game that it would be best if Belmont won. After the meeting, Powell went back out on the field.
I told the guys, I said, guys, you know, unfortunately, we were told if we want to go to the playoffs, then Belmont we have to let Belmont win this game. The kids was very distraught. It was emotional.
The aftermath played out on the field, video from the game.
You can see on the film, when I actually said that, it was more so you seeing kids take their helmets off and, you know, kids walk back to the bench. And
the players slowly shuffle back to the line, then the hike and a toss right to Belmont. The announcers.
I'm sort of confused. What's going on?
Players walk back off the field in protest, throwing their arms. Then the next play, another pitch to Belmont.
I don't know what Dunbar is doing.
8 months after this game, Powell's coaching contract was not renewed at a June 20th board meeting, while Mark Baker was given a 2-year extension in April. Joe Lacey, the only board member voting against Baker's renewal.
To reward someone with a 2-year contract who should be held accountable is not going to happen from this vote.
In a follow-up report by the Executive Director of Safety and Security for the district, Powell's account of Baker's comments during the halftime meeting are corroborated by 3 people. According to the memo, Dunbar's principal, Crystal Phillips, quote, Baker replied, Dunbar needs to lose this game. It's the best thing for the district. Belmont's principal, Melanie Walter, corroborates the comment, quote, Belmont needs to win. And Albert Powell, another Dunbar coach and Darren's uncle, says Baker told him, quote, there's been a mistake. I can fix this. You have to let Belmont win. I can sweep this under the rug. In the same memo, Baker maintains he made no such statement. In April, board member Joe Lacey said at a school board meeting,
they all corroborate the same story that happened within a meeting at halftime before the game was thrown. Amongst all the people at the meeting except for one, And the one person that the board and administrators are choosing to defend is the lone dissenter, who doesn't even say what happened at that meeting. He only just denies what everyone else corroborate happened at that meeting.
Baker has denied our multiple requests for an interview. We asked the district if he suggested the game be thrown and that Belmont needed to win. They said no.
Hindsight, I probably take my team and we just leave the field and just take that forfeit as coaches, because like I said, we knew we didn't do anything wrong. We was following orders. Never in my days will I ever tell somebody intentionally to lose a game.
Now, shortly before our newscast, we talked with Powell again, and he reiterated what he told us in that interview, that he does not harbor any ill will towards Mark Baker, and he doesn't want him to lose his job. Live in the newsroom, Kelly May, Fox 45 News.
Kelly, thank you. We've also confirmed through the district that they met yesterday with Powell to discuss his future role with the district. However, the school board voted this weekend to promote James Lacking to the Dunbar head coach. The next scheduled board meeting is July 11th. We will be there. It should be noted that in its initial investigations, the OHSAA didn't put the blame on any one person. Instead, it fined the entire district $10,000 and put them on a 3-year probation, but said if there were no further violations, the year of probation would be rescinded and $2,500 refunded. Now, while all of these discussions are going on during the game, the players, they're left in the dark, confused, unaware exactly what was happening. James Ryder joining us now after talking to a couple of Dunbar standouts. Remember that emotional game, Jim?
Well, and you saw the emotion on those players' faces. It's so difficult for them. And while all of this is playing out, the Dunbar players we spoke to say they're just left confused during this game, much like that fateful night in October.
We was having fun. Everything felt, we knew we was going to the playoffs.
But then in the second half, with Dunbar up by 3 touchdowns, head coach Darren Powell called a timeout to talk to his team.
We didn't understand what he was saying at first. So he like I gotta lose the game or we ain't gonna be able to go to the playoffs. And we got all confused, like, what do you mean? And he couldn't really tell us.
He just dropped his head and started crying. And we all knew like something's going on. Then they told us like, man, so we broke the huddle. We just crying and we crying like we about to run our play. We crying like, man, we throwing on the ball like, just go.
My heart crushed. It's just like my whole body just did not even want to play anymore.
After officials began to intervene, Powell told his kids not to worry and just play football.
It was like a bunch of savages out there on the defense. When they told us to play, everybody started going crazy. We was crying the whole game, the rest of the whole game, crying each play, every down. I'm telling my teammates, like, we're going to be all right, y'all. Don't worry about it. And we weren't all right.
Dunbar misses out on the playoffs, but then the players were dealt an even bigger blow. They never doubted Coach Powell would be back to lead the team this year, but last week found out his contract was not renewed just over a month before the official start of practice.
When I found out like he wasn't head coach, man, I just broke down.
The next day we had a meeting. Coach Darren wasn't there. They were talking about it or whatever. Then when he came in, and then when he spoke, he started crying. Everybody started crying.
We were just so like close together, and they gonna do it before our season start. It's like, man, they really trying to crush us and split us apart.
The players haven't been able to express their opinions to the school board, but if given the chance, they'd say just how much Darren means to them.
Just please, like, let him get his job back. Like, he really like a father figure to us. He really cared for us. Like, we his own kids. So it's like, man, we really don't want nobody else but him. And it's really gonna break our heart if he really don't be our head coach.
With me not having a father in my life, it's like he was the closest thing to being like the father figure in my life. And that's like my big brother, dad, whatever you want to call it. It's not the same without Coach Darren being out there. I can't imagine myself playing for anybody else.
Now the players still left to wonder exactly what their future holds, and it's been a very trying time for them. But between the way last year ended and the way these last 9 months have gone, they can't wait to start playing again and will be especially motivated once the 2017 season kicks off. Adam?
James, thanks. I bet they will be. Well, we've been investigating this story for months. To see all the past stories in the investigation reports log onto our website, fox45now.com. Click on Dayton Public Schools under the News tab on the homepage.
Some earlier thunderstorms across the far north, none of them severe. We've got one shower here in northeast Shelby County, but there are more storms primarily across northern Indiana as we speak. However, as we take a look off to the west of there, oh, my computer just froze. Let's go to the other graphic. We do have some more storms in Illinois that will move in for the overnight, not expected to be severe. Best chance tomorrow is late at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base back in the 80s. We'll talk about more storm chances coming up.
Jamie, thank you. Developing news out of San Antonio, Texas. That's where 2 police officers are in very critical condition after a shootout near downtown. Police say officers were on patrol when they stopped 2 men. When officers got out of the car, one of those men started shooting. Officers say they returned fire, hitting the gunman. One of those suspects died, the other taken into custody and is in the hospital. You're watching your 10 o'clock guarantee. That is 10 straight minutes of news and weather only on Fox 45. And up next.
I hope that they can figure out a way to make it last for years and years to come.
The Wright State University swimming program was up against the clock. Find out what they've done and been able to accomplish. And in Ohio City, taking heat tonight over the opioid crisis, the proposal from a Middletown City Council member that's gotten national attention. Then,
if I would have been by myself, there's no doubt that it could have been much worse.
An Ohio police officer accidentally overdoses during a traffic stop. His message to new recruits about the dangers on the streets. And coming up on Fox 45 News in the morning, we'll be talking to SIXA about the animals they have for adoption, then what's on tap as we head into the long holiday weekend, plus your weather and traffic every 10 minutes.